All right, very good. So thank you everybody again for joining us on this beautiful Friday. It is the end of week 3 or 4 for 3. I don't know why I even try, but I think it's 3. Um of this 2025 legislative session. There's a lot going on here in Montgomery. And without further ado, I'll wrap us up at the end with a couple of comments, but wanted to go ahead and turn it over to Clay to give us an update of everything that's going on and give some opportunity to ask some questions. So, Clay, it's all yours.
Thank you, Paige. Today, I'm going to keep it extremely focused, and it is what is most pressing right now. Y'all have heard uh, us talk a lot about the PBM bills. As y'all know, last year there was a PBM bill that we were successful in killing. Um, it placed a dispensing fee on every prescription in the state of Alabama. That bill was easier to 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 kill because it put the dispensing fee at the point of sale at the counter. Um, and I know I'm regurgitating this, y'all have heard this over and over, but I can't tell you how pressing this is and how concerning. Um, the pharmacists have been extremely vocal. Um, this year, what the bill is different. The bill they're claiming that the PBMs will just eat the increased cost because there's specific guardrails on there that they can't increase the cost of copays, etc. It does not say anything about premiums. Premiums will go up. Um, we don't know how they won't. They're saying that it also forces the PBM to pass down the rebates, um, all that, and so everything's just going to wash. Um, it literally at this point is both sides just duking it out. There's not a whole lot of um, up to date data. The most up to date numbers that we got as far as the number of prescriptions that were filled in the state of Alabama on the commercial side was from 2019. That number was over 40 and a half million. 40 and a half million. When you multiply that times $10.64, that's $430 million. That's a lot of money for our businesses, our employers, and their employees to absorb. A lot of companies, over 60% of Alabama's employees are covered under ERISA plans. A lot of companies think that they're not included in this because they're not, I mean, they're used to ERISA plans, just, we're on our own, we're self-funded, we don't have to, worry about the government telling us what to do. Um, in, the ERISA plans are included in this. So it's everybody. They are, they have been working, the two pharmacy groups, we've been told, have come to an agreement on it. We have been doing our best to gin up our membership and the business community, to push back on this, make phone calls, um, run the numbers, tell their story to their legislators of what this is going to, increase their costs based off what their company's prescriptions, number of prescriptions were in the last year. They have those numbers, and they can simply do the math. Um, we're told that the Senate's going to pass something next week. Um, And I'm right now not very confident unless we turn up the volume. And that's what we're continuing to do. We understand that businesses and are busy running their own businesses, and they don't have time to make calls. Um, we have other organizations with us on this, Manufacture Alabama, automobile dealers, truckers, realtors, down the line. So it's not just BCA. We are putting together a letter, um, explaining to the members of the Alabama Senate that, we're concerned about this, and why we're concerned about it, and are having associations and individual companies sign on. If your chamber, and I fully understand, you have pharmacists in your chambers, and y'all are in a difficult position. But if y'all have any even members who would be interested in signing on, or if your chamber would be interested in signing on, please contact me or contact Paige, and she can pass this on. But in a nutshell, what is happening with these bills? BCA and the business community does not disagree whatsoever that the PBMs are hurting these pharmacies. They absolutely are, and there are parts of these bills that are good, that are fine. But our position is simple. Employers did not cause this problem with PBMs, but we are asked to pay the cost of this. And in what world is that okay? Um, it's just not. These bills literally take from employers and give to the pharmacists. Um, and once that happens, the problem is still there. The PBM problem has not been addressed yet. The real solutions for that, as y'all have heard me talk a lot about, is in Washington. And again, the fear is that the pharmacists, whether it be in Alabama or other states, um, they're distracted working the state houses. They're not calling their congressional delegation, and that's concerning. If true PBM reform would get done in Washington, we firmly believe that it would save businesses money potentially. The other side is also saying that other states have passed these bills. Let me be clear about this. No other states have passed bills like these. They haven't. Um, so they they're the legislature is they're in a tough spot. I've been there. I mean, when you've got a very local side. My first 4 years, when we the Republican Party gained a supermajority, you know, we were reform minded, and obviously there were a lot of people who didn't like the change of status quo. There were a lot of organizations that did not like changing the status quo, and we just took it. We knew we were doing the right thing, and we just took it. But we knew that the business community had our backs. And if we can't get enough business folks to push back on this, we're going to get run over. And our organization is trying. We have tried for the past couple of weeks. We have solely focused on this and other things. Obviously, we have to. But this is real. And this is an opportunity for the business community to say, hey, this is harmful. There has to be another way. Do not shoulder us with this cost. Do not transfer wealth, because that's what they're talking about. Transfer wealth from one sector of the economy, employers, to the pharmacy owners. That's what we're talking about. And and I can tell you they're not going to go away. If they get what they want on this, the 1064 is not going to be good enough next year, or the year after. It's going to be 12, it's going to be 14, it's going to be 16. Then you're going to have other groups that look at it and goes, the pharmacists figured out how to give themselves a guaranteed profit, government mandated profit. What about us? And they're going to keep dealing with it. If they don't stop this now and tell them no, and say, we're going to find some other solutions. Look, how about this? Y'all know as well as I do, whenever the government has decided they're going to bail out a certain sector of the economy, they pay for it, or the taxpayers pay for it. But in this instance, they are asking another sector, everybody else, every other employer, to pay for it, to pay for the problem that they didn't cause. So we're asking for help. We're begging for help. We've got to be as loud as the pharmacists are, to the Alabama legislature. And we got to show them that we've got their backs. You make the right decision here. We have your backs. So I don't have a lot for you this week, other than a plea. Um, we're doing all we can. We're as we speak. While I was late, trying to working on another alternative. But the only way we're going to get another alternative is if the business community calls their members and ask for one, and let them know that this is not the answer. We want to be a part of the solution. We want to be at the table, um, and anyway, that's just it. That's just it. And I'm sorry I'm not my normal cheery demeanor, but well, maybe I am something. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But this is real, and we need some help. We definitely need some help. Again, it may be next week. I will say they had a public hearing on the bills last year, or excuse me, last week, in the Senate. The two sides, or the two groups that spoke in support of the bills, were the two pharmacy groups and Walmart. So I think that said a lot to me. I think it should say a lot to y'all. It certainly said a lot to the business community. But we have to have folks again, communicating that to their members. So that page, that's where we are right now. This is a big one.
Clay, I'm going to open it up to everyone to ask questions, but I think that, and I appreciate you acknowledging that a lot of our local chambers are in a tight spot,
We understand.
with their local pharmacist. And I think Anna asked the question, is there any um, direction that we can help in coming to some type of compromise? Because it does seem like the two sides are so far apart. You've said again today, and you said it last week, that the real PBM reform that everyone acknowledges really should be coming out of DC, but
Yep.
I think we all just know where DC is at this point. Um, Is there an opportunity because our chambers do have large employers and manufacturers and people who and companies that are going to be affected, not just large employers, but those local pharmacists? Is there a role that they or we can play in trying to come to some compromise or um,
Absolutely. Just let's keep working on it. Let's let's not pass this out of the Senate next week. I mean, again, we are feverishly working on a compromise here. But again, having employers pay for a problem that they did not create is not a compromise. I don't know how you really compromise that.
right?
I mean that is a just a principle, right? Um, so yeah, there is plenty in these bills that are fine, and again, we're willing to compromise any way that we can, so long as it doesn't um, increase costs to employers. It just it's that simple, and we're working on ways to do that. Again, if the state, if government recognizes that there is a problem, then you should step in. You know, before you ask other employers to bear the cost, the state can. Let's study this. There's a lot of numbers being thrown around, and there's from us, from the other side, and to me, I think it would be very appropriate if we can get to a point to where pharmacists aren't losing money on drugs. I mean, nothing's right about that. We very much agree. I mean, they should not be losing money on certain drugs that the PBM is asking, forcing them to do. I think there's some room there. But study this. Don't take our side. Don't take the other side. Study this. Don't make the employers and employees of the state of Alabama be the guinea pigs. Commission an independent study. Stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding. But commission an independent study that can report findings back to the legislature. Look, hopefully, it if they study it and comes back, it's something great for employers. You know, the bill sponsor of SB 99, y'all, stood up at that public hearing and said that 4 independent pharmacies and himself wrote SB 99. So, so hold on. Four pharmacists and a state senator, with all due respect, it would have been. I'm putting myself in that. That has cracked the code on how to fix the PBM problem at the state level. Again, I, if I were still sitting over there, that would give me great pause. And so I just think there are smarter ways to do this, and that's where we're going to try to get. But again, if we don't have enough, because the other side is so vocal, they are so loud. If we don't have businesses and associations, saying, "Hey, there's got to be a better way. Will y'all keep working on this? We're gonna lose. We're just gonna lose because the other side is just so loud." And again, y'all make the right decision here. We're gonna have your back. They may not get everything they want, but right now the onus is on employers. Let's be very clear about that. That's where it is, and we have to politely ask to be at the table, and that we have concerns, and here's where they are. This is what our individual company. This is how it's going to hit us. Because each individual pharmacist has done a great job of explaining here's how these PBMs are hurting our business, and here's the numbers. And so we have to have the same outreach.
Yeah. Chris, you had a question?
Yeah. So when we're thinking about large employers, I'm sure most of the local chambers around the state kind of had the same with local hospitals. What is their opinion on this bill been in your experience?
They're in a difficult situation because they have pharmacies
Yeah.
themselves. A lot of hospitals have pharmacies. So generally they're apprehensive, understandably so, of weighing in, because they're just in a very unique situation. But I I I, I'm not gonna I'm just not gonna speak for them, but
Yeah,
I
of course.
think you can imply, if they had to choose, and they very much understand the PBM problem, and suffer from it. But again, they're going to be in the same boat. They're going to be asked as an employer, because it doesn't matter if you're a private sector. If you are an employer, your costs are going to go up.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking because, I mean, of course, our local hospital is one of our biggest supporters as a chamber. And so it's like, do we want to go against them if they're in support of it, or are they also going to be hurting? So it's going to be hard for sure.
Yeah, yeah, they're in a a unique situation that they just understandably so, just stay out of it. Yeah, but that's a great question, and that may be good to reach out to them. They may have a, a candid conversation with you. They probably wouldn't want it to be passed on, but I think it would be worth your while to have those conversations with your local hospitals.
Anybody else have questions or comments for Clay? Crystal?
Um, like, is there a if all the stars align just right, is there an example of what a best case compromise scenario would look like in your slash BCA's opinion?
I mean, I think, my personal opinion, I think a good compromise would be to study it before you do this, and if to let's find a way to keep the pharmacies from closing, keep them. And by the way, based off our research per capita, Alabama has the second largest pharmacy amount of pharmacies in the country per capita. There are 1,299 pharmacies operating in the state of Alabama, and that is from the Alabama Board of Pharmacy report on existing independent and community and chain retail pharmacies. So, look, again, that's why you should study this. We all know that some businesses go out of business for various reasons. I mean, it's just the nature of our free market system. Some businesses go out because um, times change, customer behavior changes. Um, you don't see many buggy dealers anymore. You have automobile dealers. It's things just change. Not saying that that's the instance, but in some communities, that's probably the instance. Some businesses just don't operate as efficiently as they should, or are not in good locations. I'm preaching to the choir on that. But to get real independent data to make a very informed decision before we just make everybody a guinea pig and test the people of Alabama and the employers and employees. So you know, so let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's stop the bleeding, pump the brakes, and look. At the end of the day, if the state wants to go this route, they can pay for it, at least until a study is done. And I would say this: if we proposed that, then and they come back and say, well, we're worried about the cost. That's pretty telling. Well, you're not worried about the cost if employers are paying for it. So that's the areas that we're going to be working on. But yes, I think there is a compromise, Crystal. But again, are employers willing to or the question's really simple. Are employers willing to pay for a problem that they didn't cause? I, I'm not. I wouldn't be as an employer. I sure would.
Thank you.
Oh, was there somebody else? Clay, I know the immediate need is in the Senate next week, obviously with that vote impending. Um, and kind of following up on Crystal's question, I have seen a number of data points coming out and things coming out from the other side, referencing those other states that have passed some type of PBM. It does appear that if you don't do the digging into what exactly those states have passed, that they're saying this is what has been done in other states. So, and people have a tendency to look for those success stories in other states. So, I don't know if you guys have information. We just want to pass along to everyone the best information to help them make the case and to speak to our senators and to the legislature. So, do we know what has been passed in those other states? That they're
For
pointing
instance,
to.
yeah. For instance, they talk a lot about Tennessee. Tennessee limited it to low volume pharmacies, not just small and independent pharmacies, but just low volume pharmacies. So again, there is some middle ground on that. Um, the only problem with that is, again, you still have that little principal problem, right? So if you're a small business in a rural area that the only option that you have is a low volume pharmacy, it may hit you pretty hard. If you have um, small margins, you're looking at every dollar. So, of course, the other side's going to say, well, what happens when that local pharmacy goes out of business? And certainly that that is a good a good point. But I think what we have been dealing with uh, on the other side is a lot of emotion, a lot of hyperbole, and a lot of what ifs. You know, businesses deal in facts as much as we possibly can. And we're just, that's why I think it's very appropriate to commission an independent study to get the facts. Not seeing a whole lot of facts. The other side saying that we're spreading misinformation, even though we have sent out copies of the bills to all of our members and show them where the dispensing fee is located. It doesn't say 1064. It's what the Alabama Medicaid agency, their dispensing fee that they pay to the pharmacists that are filling their prescriptions. They're wanting to match our plans up to Medicaid is what they're wanting. But we have sided, don't take our word for it. Look where this is in the bill. So we're just trying to counter the we're misinforming our folks, and it's not the case. The other side's not talking about the 1064. They're not talking about the dispensing fee. I'd encourage you to, you know, to locate their stuff on social media. They are dead silent about it. They're not talking about it. So, or the
Well,
ERISA exemption, by the way.
it good timing for Chamber Day at the Capitol next Wednesday, when we will all be converging in Montgomery. So, yeah, we'll get through this and then possibly, um, talk about we have a number of chambers that are doing DC fly-ins, and taking that message to DC, because we've said from the very beginning that really is where true PBM reform could happen. And we all acknowledge that. So, um, anyone have any other questions? Follow up to the PBM discussion, or Clay, if you don't mind, if anybody has questions
Yeah,
on something else. Um,
yeah.
because there's other things at work, as we know. Um, Anybody have anything else for the greater good? All right. Thank you, Clay, as always. It is, um, it is, it's a tough spot. And I will tell you, it is not a this is not a new fight. I think that this year has certainly been different. I started in April of 21, and I think my first Capitol briefing, we were discussing another PBM issue back in 21. But there is definitely a sense of urgency at this point. So we appreciate you acknowledging that and sharing that with everyone. I won't speak on behalf of the BCA team, but I think I'm free to say, please reach out to them if you have specific questions, something in your community, something that you're hearing from your pharmacist, where maybe that compromise and that those conversations start at that very, very local level.
Yeah.
So reach out to Clay, Caroline, William, or me, of course, if you would like, and I can get you to them as well. So um, this will be the last time we're together until we are together next week. Many of you will be joining us next Wednesday. Stay tuned. You will be getting an email probably on Monday. We're waiting on the parking code from RSA Plaza for the event, but you will get all of the instructions for our big visit next week. So thank you to everyone that's supporting that. We're going to have about 125 chamber professionals and leaders here in Montgomery next week. So
And we're looking forward to seeing y'all.
yeah, it's going to be exciting. Right now, biggest prayer is that 40% rain goes to 100% or goes to zero, not 100, goes to 0%. So, thank you guys. Thank you, Clay, for all your hard work. I know when you are in a coat and tie in the office on a Friday that you were at work.
Yes, ma'am. We are busy.
Yes. So, thank you guys. We will see you next week. And as always, please, please do not hesitate to reach out. And reach out to your members on this very important issue. All right.
Thank y'all.
Y'all have a good weekend.
Y'all too.